Attempt, I'm not even gonna say. I think we'll move past the stage of conception, past the fetus developing. Instead, we'll be focusing on the moment after the child emerges from that little opening. Trying to breathe almost looks frightening, followed by screams shrill as the crack of thunder and lightning. No clue about anything, just scared and screams, and it becomes near deafening until the baby's brain hears a subconscious beckoning. It is the strangest thing as the baby falls asleep, and you swear you could hear the silence echoing. In a few more days, involuntary systems begin to activate. The automatic functions incapable to procrastinate. They've already been shaped, born with patterns innate. Even the urge to masticate, no, not masturbate, that'll come later. But for now, to this baby's brain you must cater. Just for a couple of months until the baby's brain goes on a developmental hunt. Pattern recognition through pattern repetition, visual juxtaposition. Developing relationships to objects by putting them in their mouth to gather information that the brain must collect to say, is this correct? The baby will reflect, inspect, and dissect everything, entering in reach direct or indirectly. A special effect, creating substantial progress, developing linguistical skills and becoming fear instilled, beginning to crawl up until it's balanced on all twos. And on the next verse, I'll elaborate a little more about the brain. Every system designed for growth at a different rate. Some functions have no need in this round, like the medulla and the midbrain, already developed, so they don't need Father Time's help. This can be easily felt when you put your hand on the baby's chest or after a rest, or in the duppy you just smell. Automatic functions. In the first stage, the least developed is the cortex. In this context, responsible for language, perception, thinking, and body movement. Through the grays come signals for synaptic development, which was already happening from the moment you were heaven sent. Through the gray, like gray matter. Yeah. During the fetal stage, you went through neuronal proliferation, and this means the pace made haste relating to neural formation. And this means neurons migrating to a specific destination and getting completion. Add some electrical impatience, and the babies are now patients to be worked on by ductal connection, aka the synapse. With no evidence of a prolapse, neurons begin to fire, unhindered desire and innate ability, affecting everything in the vicinity. But be careful, misdirected energy could render a synapse deader than a Kennedy. So the synapse is the product of a goal, visually resembling a mushroom spore in your head in the hole. But not only in your head, they're all over your body, and communicating electrical impulses is their only hobby. The axons are the tail-like extensions, sometimes reaching up to 1 meter in length. This I had to mention, it's also the part that resembles the mushroom stem. Now, dendrites... Dendrites, if I can pronounce the name right, is the part that takes flight off the cell body in the night, and the synapse can't stop fidgeting. However, luckily there's another cell minion. They're called glial cells, acting as neuronal prison cells, acting as the glue of purposeful use. They strengthen the structure, making the brain more mature and turning it into a superstructure, bringing the neurons closer. Now let's bust onto the premises of synaptogenesis, which occurs out of the abyss for a couple of years. Only in spurts can this intense energy disperse. As a result, many XX pathways are made. The brain calls a synaptic pruner to rid itself of the shade. It takes care of the mess, with the brain becoming the best of the best, keeping the necessary pathways open, and all the open unused become eliminated components like dividing exponents. The brain only keeps what's important. Dead leaves still on the plant that would like to move forth, however can't. They get plucked and sometimes a new one gets a transplant. This happens and becomes more efficient throughout the lifespan. For every child, the pathways are different. Some information acceptance, and for anything disregarded, no feeling of repentance. At this point, experience anemone as the new entity starts feeling a sense of identity. Linguistics are becoming fluent, observational pursuing as the child regards everything, records aspect of its character. Also, feelings and emotions are beginning to register. Beginning to seek pleasure and awareness of self and others, becoming a lot clearer. An imitational mirror as the time of school draws nearer. The child is now a procurer of interactional skills, and when a mistake is made, a sense of shame is felt, creating chills and guilt. But this is completely normal as the brain is now addressing matters formal, commencing problem solving as the cortex is evolving and some of the childish behavior is dissolving. Around the world, the child is revolving. All the thoughts of self he is now involved in. I don't care if I screw up at this point. It's the best I've done so far. Read the rest of it if I speak gibberish. Because it might happen. Egocentrism caused self-criticism, affecting all decisions, both invincible and detrimental internal collisions, beginning with metacognition, trying to figure out the style of recognition through malleation, increases all our relations, power of examination, language and spatial perception on the path to phenomenal. It won't be long until the fears and emotions it's learned will be instilled. Now that we're near puberty in the self-esteem phase, I'm gonna pass the mic to my subject to explain the final phase. The next part I'm going to talk, not sing. I'm supposed to sing it, but I'm not going to. And it'll be spoken in first person as by the child I was observing the whole time. Who in theory would I guess be me. It's beginning to be the ride of my life, taking in all that's good and all my strife. Self-esteem is a hell of a fight, as the darkness seems to be hiding my light. Just pretend I sang that, and it'll be beautiful. Depressive thoughts are an improper device, especially when I'm noticing that we're all so similar and alike. This far I've arrived, so why eliminate all that I've derived? All this knowledge lets me comprehend the blessing of life. I'm gathering allies through communication, unifying my inner and outer nation, arranging and contemplating the arrangement that I've made with my brain, and I've almost made it through the first part of my lifespan. I've developed from a primalistic caveman, using only sounds to a linguistical jazz man. Gross and fine motors, once minimalistic, and now with a steady hand, I've managed to pick up this pad and then put down these words with this pen. Instantly the information sands, and now that I'm older, I can observe the process and understand why I think the way I do. To grow a perspective higher, my brain's on fire, I got the power to be inspired. Sex right now is an unquenchable burning desire, and that's something I feel I require. I can't explain it yet. Brain hemispheres begin to synchronize in a duet. All these feelings I've developed, a sense of self I'll never forget, focusing on a creative outlet, starting to see that I'm about it, now that my seeds finally sprouted, and when I put it to you, flawless logic never doubted, in my mind I've confounded, abstract thought is profound, and I can also keep it grounded, my thought process finally got it surrounded, or at least that's what I like to think for the time being. I'm invincible and indestructible at the age of 18. That's as good as it's gonna get. Thank you. And I hope someone giggled somewhere and that you liked it. And that it made sense. Bye.